Okay, so now we have a project which is working, right? So basically from the user side, we can get all the questions. We are able to get the question based on a category, and also we were able to add a question, right? So now this almost sums up our question service. Now, of course, we will enhance it so that we can handle the exceptions, which we have not done till now. And also we want to work with HTTP response status codes. The thing is, if you have ever went to a website, of course you do that, right? Sometimes when the website is not available, or when you enter a wrong link, you get an error, right? Which is very famous, 404. Now, what are these status codes and to whom it is helpful? Of course, as a normal user, when you look at these numbers, of course, 404 is very famous. So it makes sense to remember it. But there are multiple status codes which you don't have to by heart as a user. It's the job of a developer to show some perfect message or a good message to the user. Hey, this is what went wrong, right? And normally we do that on the client side. So based on the response which we receive from the server, a client side application will generate some message, right? So let's say if you request for a resource and the resource is there, you will get a status by saying 200, which is okay, you got the response. So the status is okay here. What if you got an error, the resource is not there, which is 404, right? So file not found. So instead of printing 404, we could have print file not found, right? In the same way, we have multiple status code. So let me show you that here. Now we are on to the Mozilla documentations, and you can see we have different status codes available here. So basically we have 5. We got informational responses, which comes under 100 to 199. And then we got successful response, which is 200 to 299. Redirection messages, 300 to 399. Client error, 400 to 499. And then server, which is 500 to 599. So basically, if you talk about whatever information you want to get, you can send in this. When you get success in terms of resource is there, resource got created, anything successful will be part of this 200 series. What if there's something wrong with the client side? I mean, as a client, you made some mistake, but maybe entering a wrong path or something like that. So that's where you will get 400. What if something is wrong on the server side? There's some bug, something arised. So that's your 500 series. In fact, if you want to get more details, we have more here. Example, we got 200, which we're going to lose a lot. So let's say when you request a data from a server and data is there, you got the data. So with the data, also send this status code that, hey, it is 200. If you don't want to remember the numbers, you can remember the names. Okay, so 200 is okay. What if you want to create something on the server? Let's say we created a question, right? So when you create a question, the response you should get is created. So that's what you have to respond from the server side. And list goes on. There are multiple options here which we are going to use. In fact, you can also specify 400 errors, which is bad request. Whatever the client is trying to access is not there on the server. Maybe the client is not authorized to do that. Forbidden error, not found error, if the resource is not available. And method not allowed. Example, let's say on the server side, you're saying it's a get method, but you're sending a post request. So it's a method not allowed error. And then we can also go for 500 series, in which there is something wrong with the server internally and bad gateway. So something with the server side. Okay, so let's get back to our code. So what we're going to do is first let's try to handle the exceptions, and then we're trying to handle the codes. So what I will do is, before that we have one more thing. We need to also specify, how do you specify the status code? So let's say you are into question controller, right? And now here you are responding with all the questions. Now at this point, we are returning a list of questions. So we can return only one data, right? How do you return data as well as status code to the client? And that's where we got something called ResponseEntity. So instead of returning a list of questions, what you can do is you can create a new object here, which is of ResponseEntity, because that's what you're returning now, response, which is in a format of entity. Now it will have 2 parameters basically. The first one is the actual data which you want to return. And the second one is the status code. So in this case, when you are fetching data, I can say HTTP status dot. You don't have to remember the numbers. You can simply say OK. So this works. So in the constructor of response entity, you're passing 2 things, the data and the status code. Okay. It is giving you an error is because what you are returning is not matching. So what I will do is I will just change this to response entity. and then we are returning a list. Okay, so this is what you can do. So what you are sending is not just the data, but also the status code. Okay, now either we can do that here, or also we can do that in this service. The reason we will be doing that in service as well is because we have to handle the exception, right? Something like this. Let's go back to service, and here I will do it for get all questions. So here, instead of returning the list of it, we can also say response entity here, because I want to handle the exception as well. So it will make much more sense to do that here. And instead of returning this, we can say new response entity, and then we can pass it here. We can pass two parameters. In fact, we have to pass two parameters. The first one is the data, because of course the find all is giving you data. And the second one is the status. So HTTP status dot OK, right? Now, since we are doing that here, we don't need to do that in the controller. So here we can simply return the data itself, which you are getting from the service, because service itself is giving you response entity, right? Because if you see all get all questions, it is actually returning response entity. So you don't have to write that there. Okay, but this is a good scenario, right? So if everything works well, it works well. But what if you got the error? Now that's why you have to handle the exception. So what we're going to do is we'll be opening a try block, and we'll put that inside a try block. And then we'll write a catch as well. If something goes wrong, I want to print the exception message on the console. I can say e.print stack trace. And then I also, okay, see, the thing is, we can return in try, but we have to also return. What if something goes wrong? In that case, this will not be returned, right? So what you can do is you can just copy this and paste it here. If something goes wrong, you can return a empty array. So you can say new array list, not array, array list. So instead of returning the questions, we are returning an empty array, but the status will not be okay. The status can be here, the bad request, right? So that's how we can handle this. So we are handling the exception, and we're also using response entity here. Now with that, basically we are using status code, as you mentioned, HTTP OK, HTTP status.OK, HTTP status.bad request. Now, if you go back to the controller, here we don't have to do anything. We can just do this. We can get all the questions and return it. So now the advantage of this is if I restart the server, and if I go back to my Postman, okay, this is the request we were sending, right? So now if I send this request once again, you can see we got the data, but with data, we also got 200 OK, right? And that's what is working. But what if you make some mistakes here? Maybe you're not authorized. Maybe you have done something in behind the scene that only the authorized user should be able to get that. And then a user is not logged in. In that case, you can return unauthorized, something like that. So that's where it is helpful. We can also try it for other methods which we have. Example, we got category here. So instead of returning a list, we can return a response entity. We can put that here. And the same thing, we need to return in this format of, okay, we are doing that in a controller. Okay, we need to do that in controller, but also I need to do that in service. So if I go back to service here, so get question by category. So here we have to also respond with response entity, and then we need to return an object of response entity. Just put that as a parameter and the status code. So I can put status code here, which is HTTP status.OK, right? But of course, we also need to get try catch here. So I can simply copy this code from here, and since I'm lazy, and then we can replace the statement here. In fact, it will make much more sense when we do it for the add. Of course, for add also, we will be sending a response entity, but this time the type will be of type string, the primary data type you're sending. And then here we have to say new response entity. So you will send the data. Okay, no, we are doing that from the service, right? Okay, so the job of service here is to respond it now, right? So where is add? Add is here. So in this, basically we'll be sending a response entity with the angular brackets, and then you will be returning not just success. So now we have to return the new response entity, and now success becomes a part of that object. Now, which status we have to specify here? So it should be HTTP status dot, think about this. Okay, now since we are getting data on the server, it should be created as we defined earlier. Okay, looks cool, right? Now, let's try to call this particular method. Of course, with the same data which we have here. So I will say post. In fact, I have a history here for the question add. and then we got body. Let me say the maximum value for short. I don't remember the short maximum value. It should be 63. Hopefully, doesn't matter, right? So let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, and the answer is, let's say 3. I don't remember at this point, and I don't even want to calculate. If you're thinking I should calculate and do it, I'm lazy. So you can see I'm sending data and I'm sending a post request. And now when I click on send, okay, the thing is we need to restart the application. See, if you do that, if you send this data without entity response entity, it says 200, but we want 201, which is created. So we just have to restart the server with the new changes. Okay, everything looks good. And let's create the same question again. I don't know, it will create an issue. No. Okay, you can see we got success, and this time the status code is 201. So the client side, of course, a client will not be using a Postman, right? They will be using something fancy, some UI tool, mobile, or some React application, which looks good. In that case, as a UI developer, it is your job to accept the status code and display the appropriate message on the console, on the screen for the user. So that's how basically we use this. Okay, so now once you understood response entity and exception handling here, of course we have not done the handling here, but yeah, you can take care of it. So that's your assignment. Complete this part, write the exception handling for this. Now in the next video, let's try to create a quiz application where a quiz service will be using a question service to generate the quiz. So see you in the next video.